Thank you, Brother Ahmed, and all the guests and the speakers. My name is Abdurahman Sayyid, and I'm sorry I was briefly away on a phone call, and so I missed your earlier call, but I did listen to the speeches and presentations by all the speakers so far, and I thank them for their time and valuable contribution to this session. I also thank the Afar state group for organizing this, and I congratulate them for their second Congress, which I hope will bring more incentive to continue the struggle for more years, inshallah, to also restore the rights of our Afar nation in Eritrea, as well as the entire Eritrean people. I was not prepared to really give a presentation or a speech, but I'll be happy to briefly share with you 5 main points just by way of contribution. The first one is my message of solidarity, although sometimes it's quite difficult for me to consider myself in solidarity with an Afar cause, because I feel very much an Afar myself, and Afars are part of me as well as I am part of them, and so are the entire people of Eritrea. So the Afar people's struggle is very much an integral part of the whole Eritrean people's struggle, inshallah. That leads me to the second point, which is the reason I say an Afar struggle is an integral part of the Eritrean people's struggle. Historically, the colonization of Eritrea began from Assab, which is an Afar territory, and extended to the rest of Eritrea. So the whole process of the creation, a new colony for Italy in East Africa, began from Assab and then continued to present-day Eritrea. That's one thing. The second related to this issue is when the Ethiopians tried to grab Eritrea, annex it by force and violate its rights, and then the Eritrean people started to fight against this in a more organized fashion from 1958, there were attempts by the Ethiopian regimes, different regimes, to push for some kind of a compromise solution where Eritreans would abandon their right to Assab, and therefore the Ethiopians can claim Assab as their own port city. And in fact, towards that end, there was a gradual demographic change in Assab and also cultural, to the extent that a child born in Assab during the Ethiopian rule of Eritrea or occupation of Eritrea would grow up speaking more Amharic than any other language, including Afar language. And I know this from my own relatives who grew up in Assab, and I remember when they came to our part of Eritrea and we had to communicate in Amharic at the time. So there was this attempt by the Ethiopians, and then also when they tried to introduce some kind of like self-rule to Eritreans, they tried to incorporate Assab to other parts of Ethiopia or Afar Ethiopia. So there were that kind of attempts that if they have to lose Ethiopia, then they will Eritrea, I mean, then they would rather maintain their grip on Assad at any cost. And this kind of rhetoric from time to time, you still hear it from Ethiopia, from some remnants of the past Ethiopian regimes, but also from some elites, unfortunately, even in our present day Kililis, including Tigray. So Assad, for us as Eritreans, in fact, it is very much the title and the icon of the whole struggle of self-determination for the Eritrean people. So there is no way you can separate the struggle of the Afari people from the rest of the Eritrean people. That's what I'm trying to emphasize on this second point. The third point is the issue of governance, which is very interesting. And as many of you know, I'm very much a federalist. I promote federalism at every level in Eritrea, as well as in our neighboring countries like Sudan, Ethiopia, and other places, including Somalia, which is sometimes people consider it to be a homogeneous society, but still due to the clan and tribal and other issues and conflicts that has been going on there since 1991 or even before then, it would be quite ideal to consider federalism for that country too. So I am very much a federalist person. I do support federalism, but I'm not also very much into titles. When I consider federalism, I would rather avoid the kind of like ethnic federalism or cultural or territorial or and so on. This may be very much useful for academic exercises. It may be also useful to brainstorm our future Eritrea, future Horn of African countries, how we would like them to be post-dictatorship, post-autocratic regimes. That's absolutely fine. We can always do that. But the basic principle for every consideration of alternative governance systems has to really take into consideration the traditions of our society, to the traditions of our nationalities and tribes. And this comes well into the whole notion of building a nation as well as a governance system that is basic on the organic governance systems of the countries' societies. So the Afars are in fact very rich in that. They are very rich in terms of federalism, creating a sultanate that can negotiate even with foreign powers. Historically, we've been reading about the Afar sultanates and how the five of them sometimes would come on common foreign policy to address common concerns while still maintaining their autonomous sultanates. And therefore, this is very important tradition, very rich tradition that we need to maintain, but also we need to find the inspiration from, so we can build the system of governance that is more conducive to our Eritrean nature or situation. And that goes across the board. It's not just about our Afar nation, but also in the highlands. The Tigrinya have customary laws and well-known, well-written in different regions of Eritrean southern highlands. This needs to be also considered as a base from which then we can aspire to build a nation that is very much composite in its nature, but also with its own shared values as well as individual values within our different diverse communities. And it goes again to other parts of Eritrea, to the eastern lowlands, the western lowlands, and so on. So I think this is the most important. And with that comes, of course, the issue of respecting the traditional and natural habitat of our communities, as well as of their mode of production, and not impose, like the PFGJ tried to do, certain laws that might fit or might be based on certain understanding of their own customers, but not necessarily extended to accommodate the diversity even in the mode of production. So this would require to be taken into account. So that leads me now to the fourth point, and I heard my colleague, my good friend Johannes Asmelash, and prior to him also Professor Joseph Magnet, mentioning TDF, and in the case of Johannes also mentioning the Tigrayan issue. I can understand, of course, there are ongoing discourse on this issue, and of course the ongoing conflict and the suffering of people there. However, I think it's very important when we are discussing an Eritrean Afar issue or an Eritrean issue to stay focused as much as possible on Eritrea, and to look at the Ethiopian issue also separately as far as possible. I know sometimes it would be quite hard to separate, especially when we have a regime that allows itself to interfere in neighboring countries' affairs. So we obviously get influenced by that, but at least in conferences like this, I think it would be better not to confuse the different issues with one another. I think that's what I would like to emphasize. And finally, I would like to repeat and reiterate my thanks to the brothers, Ahmed and his colleagues for organizing this, and Joseph Magnet and our lawyer friend. I think I might have missed his name on the screen now. But all the support that you've been giving to our Afari colleagues and comrades. Thank you all, and we'll stand by the rights of our Afar nation in Eritrea, as well as of the whole Eritrean, inshallah. And may we all see a prosperous and democratic Eritrea that is accommodative of its own nationalities and diversities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Bo Hashim. A very excellent presentation. Always, yes, you're absolutely right. You're not just a Afar friend, but we consider you our brother. In fact, we are working on your title, a traditional Afar name. One day you will come and present your Afar name as well. So thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.